Mathilde Loisel wanted beauty and wealth, but feared remaining poor and unnoticed. She had married Monsieur Loisel, a kind clerk who earned a small government salary. Their apartment was clean, but plain. Its worn chairs and ugly curtains seemed to accuse Mathilde, while every mark on the walls became a telltale sign of the life she hated. Before we go on, here are a few useful words to listen for. In her dreams, bright rooms held silver plates and rich food, while servants waited quietly. These pictures only heightened her unhappiness because she owned no fine dresses or jewels. She rarely visited her rich school friend, Madame Forestier, because returning to the apartment afterward felt too painful. One evening, Monsieur Loisel arrived carrying a large envelope and wearing a proud smile.
There is something for you.
Mathilde opened the large envelope. Inside was an invitation from the Minister of Public Instruction. Mathilde and Monsieur Loisel were invited to a grand evening at the ministry, an event that many people wished to attend. Instead of smiling, Mathilde dropped the invitation card on the table.
What do you expect me to do with that?
I thought you would be pleased. Everyone wants an invitation. We will meet important people.
What will I wear?
Monsieur Loisel suggested her theater dress. Then he saw tears moving down her cheeks.
If I go dressed like that, everyone will see how poor I am. Give the invitation to another clerk.
Monsieur Loisel asked how much a suitable dress would cost. Mathilde thought carefully, measuring what he might agree to, before she named the large sum of 400 francs. He became pale, for he had been saving that exact amount for a gun and a summer hunting trip. It was a private hope, built through many months of careful saving.
I have saved for many months.
He quietly pushed aside his own wish for the gun and hunting trip.
Very well. I will give you 400 francs. Buy a pretty dress.
As the grand evening came closer, Mathilde remained troubled. Her new dress was ready, but she still had no jewelry to complete the rich appearance she wanted.
You could wear fresh flowers.
No. Nothing is worse than looking poor among rich women.
Then visit Madame Forestier. If you ask her, she will lend you something.
Mathilde suddenly understands. This is the first time she has seen the invitation as a door into the life she desires, and she laughs with relief. The next day, Mathilde visited Madame Forestier and explained her problem. Madame Forestier listened kindly, then crossed the fine drawing room toward the dark mirrored wardrobe. She returned, carrying a large jewel case, and opened it before Mathilde. Inside were gold bracelets, pearls, jeweled crosses, and many bright stones that caught the light.
Choose, my dear.
Mathilde tried several pieces, but her intuition told her that none was right. Then she noticed a black box beside the other jewels. Inside the black box lay a shining diamond necklace. Its light was so startling that Mathilde stopped breathing for a moment and simply stared at it. Her hands shook as she placed the necklace around her neck. The diamonds changed her reflection and seemed to heighten the beauty of her face and shoulders.
Could you lend me this one?
Of course.
You have given me everything I needed.
Mathilde hugged Madame Forestier, kissed her, and hurried home with the treasure. That evening, Mathilde entered the ministry beside Monsieur Loisel. Her ivory dress fitted perfectly, and the necklace flashed at her throat. There was no telltale mark of poverty in her appearance. Important men turned to look at Mathilde. Officials asked her name and requested introductions, and even the minister noticed her among all the richly dressed guests. Mathilde moved from partner to partner, smiling at every compliment. At that exact moment, Mathilde was dancing when Monsieur Loisel went to rest in a quiet room with other tired husbands. The attention felt wonderful and almost frightening, yet Mathilde's intuition had been correct. The necklace made her feel that she truly belonged among these rich guests. For one perfect night, she forgot the apartment, the old chairs, and the ugly curtains. She forgot the jewels were borrowed and felt admired, desired, and powerful. Near 4 in the morning, Monsieur Loisel finally found Mathilde, still bright with happiness after hours of dancing. He looked tired and ready to leave the ministry.
We must go home.
He placed her ordinary wrap around her shoulders. Mathilde quickly moved away from the other women because their rich coats made her own covering look poor. They found an old carriage and rode home through the sleeping streets. Mathilde said little, still holding the glorious evening inside her, unaware that her happiness was about to end. At home, Mathilde removed her wrap and turned toward the mirror for one final look at herself. Then a startling cry escaped her. The necklace was gone. Monsieur Loisel was taking off his coat when Mathilde turned toward him. Her face showed a terrible blankness, and her voice was only a whisper.
I no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace.
What? That is impossible.
Together they searched the dress, the wrap, and every pocket. They examined the floor, then shook each piece of clothing, but the necklace was nowhere to be found.
Are you sure you had it when we left the ministry?
Yes. I touched it near the entrance.
If it fell in the street, we would have heard it. It may be in the carriage.
They had not recorded the carriage number. Still, Monsieur Loisel went back outside as the city was waking, walking through the streets and carefully studying the road. Mathilde waited in her party dress, watching the door with a strange blankness in her eyes. Her intuition warned her that Monsieur Loisel would return without the necklace. At 7, Monsieur Loisel came back alone. He had found nothing, confirming the fear that had continued to heighten through the night as she waited helplessly in silence. During the following days, they questioned carriage offices, police stations, and newspaper workers. They offered a reward, but a faint telltale fear entered every conversation, and no useful news came.
We have searched everywhere. You must write to your friend. Say the clasp broke and we are having it repaired.
Mathilde wrote the lie as Monsieur Loisel spoke, saying the clasp had broken and was being repaired. The message would give them more time to continue searching. A week passed. Hope disappeared. The shock became a deep trauma for them both. Monsieur Loisel seemed years older. Mathilde sat silently, seeing diamonds around her empty neck. They began visiting jewelers with the necklace case. At last, in a shop near the royal palace, they found a necklace that looked almost identical. Its price was 36,000 francs. The figure left them in blankness. After gathering their savings and family money, they owned only 18,000 francs. The remaining 18,000 francs would have to be borrowed from others. The debt would shape their future, but replacing Madame Forestier's necklace now seemed unavoidable.
If we buy it, we will spend years paying the debt.
Mathilde closed her eyes. They saw no other choice. Monsieur Loisel borrowed money from relatives, lenders, and strangers. Some demanded cruel terms, and the remorseless interest would keep growing until the Loisels had paid every debt. With the borrowed money, they bought the replacement necklace. Mathilde Loisel carried it in its case to Madame Forestier, while fear followed her through the streets.
You should have returned it sooner. I might have needed it.
Madame Forestier did not open the case. Mathilde Loisel left before fear could change her face and reveal the secret. The Loisels dismissed their young servant and moved into a cheap room beneath a roof. Their former comfort disappeared, leaving only hard work, worry, and debt. Monsieur Loisel worked at the ministry all day. At night, although he was already tired, he copied documents for extra money and added the earnings to their payments. Mathilde Loisel faced the heaviest work. She washed clothes, carried water upstairs, cleaned dirty pots, and scrubbed floors until her once soft hands became red and rough. She bargained in shops, while wealthier women carried fine bags past her. Mathilde Loisel fought over every coin, because each coin mattered to the waiting lenders. The startling change soon appeared in her body. Her shoulders grew stronger, but her face became hard. Her hair was often untidy, and her dresses hung badly. The trauma of the loss did not fade. It entered each day and shaped every choice, until even small pleasures seemed dangerous whenever the lenders were waiting. Years passed under the remorseless rule of debt. Bills arrived, promises were renewed, and interest consumed their earnings, but Mathilde Loisel still never refused the work. Sometimes, Mathilde Loisel sat beside the apartment window and remembered the party. In her mind, she saw the bright ballroom and heard its music again. For a few hours that night, she had been the most admired woman there. The memory could heighten the blankness of her present life and its endless tasks. Then Mathilde Loisel looked at her red, rough hands, and the dream vanished. She rose from the window and returned at once to the tasks before her. Monsieur Loisel also changed during those years. His hair thinned, deep lines formed around his eyes, and yet he continued calculating each payment with patient care. After 10 years, only one payment remained. If they pay the final coin tomorrow, their struggle will be over by tomorrow night at last. After 10 years, they finally paid the last coin. The remorseless years had taken their youth, comfort, and beauty, yet the secret no longer controlled their future. Mathilde Loisel felt exhausted, but proud. She had survived the result of that terrible night through hard work and a determination she had never expected to find in herself. She believed the expensive necklace was resting safely in Madame Forestier's wardrobe. That belief softened the trauma, because her costly duty seemed complete and settled. Yet Mathilde Loisel did not know. One final truth remained. Its discovery would be startling, and it could change the meaning of all their suffering. One Sunday, after a hard week of work, Mathilde walked along the Champs-Élysées. She wore a plain brown dress, and her rough hands rested at her sides. Ahead, she saw Madame Forestier walking with a child. Her old friend still looked young, wealthy, and beautiful, while Mathilde felt marked by 10 difficult years. Mathilde stopped. The past returned with such force that it seemed to heighten every sound around her. Her first intuition was to hide. Then, she remembered that the debt was finished. She chose not to hide, approached the other woman, and spoke to the friend she had once known.
Good morning, Madame Forestier.
Madame Forestier stared at her. She saw only a poor, tired woman with a familiar voice.
I am sorry. I do not know you.
I am Mathilde Loisel.
Her friend cried out in shock.
Oh, my poor Mathilde. How you have changed.
Yes, I have suffered since we last met, and it was because of you.
Because of me? How?
Do you remember the diamond necklace you lent me for the ministry party?
Yes,
I lost it.
but you returned it.
I returned another necklace that looked the same. We borrowed money to buy it. We have spent 10 years paying the debt, but now it is finished.
Madame Forestier did not speak at once. For a moment, there was blankness on Madame Forestier's face. Then she took Mathilde's rough hands in her own, trying to understand what she had heard.
You bought a diamond necklace to replace mine?
Yes.
Despite the trauma of those years, Mathilde smiled with honest pride.
It was difficult, but we have paid everything.
Madame Forestier looked at her with deep sadness. The remorseless truth could no longer be avoided, and her silence grew heavy before she finally spoke.
Oh, my poor friend. My necklace was not made of real diamonds. It was only an imitation. It was worth no more than 500 francs.
Mathilde did not answer. Around them, people continued walking and talking. Carriages passed along the Champs-Élysées, and the city carried on, untouched by the startling truth that had just been revealed. One borrowed necklace had given Mathilde a night of joy. One hidden mistake had taken 10 years of her life, leaving nothing that could ever be returned. Here are some of the words you met in this story. Say each one to yourself.